staff briefing, which will follow the same pattern of staff briefings that we have had in the past. And a quick overview and update of where we are at, key priorities as to what is coming next, and also an opportunity for you to make sure that we would hear if there are anything that you want us to pay attention to. Specifically, this being the first full week back in the new academic year, we want to know if there are things that need urgent attention. There will be the teething problems at the beginning of the academic year. You know how to go, where to go to address those, but if you're seeing things that require further attention and so on, please be sure that you would give that feedback to us. The easiest way that you can do that is emailing us at future@efc.ac.uk. That goes to the senior team and we will be able to impact on that. So future@efc.ac.uk. Anything that is not working, you're not getting anywhere with it, or you see something, remember that don't walk by. We don't want to walk by, we want to start as we need to go on. So, without further ado, I want to ask Kerry to come and talk about a new, very exciting group that we have got, and this is to do with an LGBT alliance. What it is? I can't remember the rest of it.
Hi, good afternoon everybody. I've just taken this very brief opportunity to inform you about our new LGBT plus Friends and Allies Committee. The branding is up there, which Richard has designed, which I think is really, really good. So it's the EFC bullseye in the rainbow colours. We will be displaying the window stickers in places around the college where it's safe for students to talk to staff there about the issues. And we'll be wearing a pin badge on our lanyards, because having done a recent survey of how many lanyards we've got, believe it or not, we've got 13 different lanyards. So rather than wear another lanyard, we'll just be putting a pin badge on our existing lanyard. Just to go through the group presently, Victoria has kindly agreed to be our chair. Clifford from PLW will be our vice chair, and then Sabui is on the group, Gary from Business is on the group, Byron the youth worker is on the group, and Joanne from HR is on the group. We would welcome more volunteers if anyone wishes to join us. There is an article in The Voice today. If you would like to join us, please just email me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I look forward to sort of have more diversity and other aspects that you think this organisation would benefit from for us to promote and have. Please don't be shy to come forward. So this is your workplace. You are the people working here. You matter the most. Without you, doesn't matter how many students we have, this college is nothing. So let's work together to make this workplace be the best workplace that it can be. And with the knowledge that you all have, with the experience that you all have, we have it within our powers to do it. It doesn't require a huge amount of money. It requires us working together. So let's see what can be done. So let's get on with the business of today. I'm going to give you a quick overview of what's happening with the merger stuff. As I promised, you would hear it as we move forward. Phil is going to give you where we are at update on last year, end of year, also where we are with enrollment, also where we are with matters that have to do with our performance. May isn't here, but our financial situation hasn't changed from last time he spoke, and I will give you that update. And obviously the final bit, that is you matter, I want to make sure that you guys are all aware of various things that are happening in the college, and if you want to contribute to those, you can. So with the merger news, a meeting is arranged by our colleagues from ESFA and FE Commission. That is planned for the 6th of October. That would be after our Board of Governors have met on the 25th of September, and also Barnhill and Southgate Board of Governors have met on the 3rd of October. And that's the first meeting where we would outline a plan, in terms of a project plan, to ensure that the merger is on track and it's going to be carried forward in a controlled and measured and decisive way for us to be merged by August 2018, 1st of August 2018. In that discussions, there will be specific attention given to Epping Forest College's challenges, where we have all these other priorities to do with our quality and finance, to make sure that the eye is not taken off the ball of what is the most important thing, which is our learners, their experience, and what happens day in, day out at this college. So with merger news, at this moment in time, business as usual, we carry on as they were. There's not going to be any changes in terms of curriculum. There is not going to be any changes in terms of policy. There is not going to be any changes that is material at all to the business as usual day-to-day practice. The only thing that will be changed is how I would allocate my time in terms of concentrating on merger activities as well as leading this organization. Purely would affect my time, partially would affect Phil's time, and to some extent would impact on what May needs to do because there will be due diligence going on. Apart from that, business as usual, carry on. When we know the timeline, you would know. So immediately there will be news coming back to you so you are fully aware how things are. Over the summer we have had some introductory meetings which I have told you about. Our chairs have met, our vice chairs have met, principals have met. What I would like to do is now link the curriculum areas together to see if there are any learning can be had or any collaboration can be had between the partners. But apart from that, no change, business as usual, priority remains firmly on learner and their experience. If you have any questions about merger, if there are uncertainties, if you hear things that is not what I'm telling you, you want to have the time to come and sit down and chat, please do. Again, you know how to book a time, Summers email. Again, you can put future@efc.ac.uk. That's your link directly back to us for any matters that are related to you and the concerns that you may have. Okay, Phil.
Okay, thank you. Just a few updates really. First of all, with regard to achievement for last year. This is the state of play as we stand today. So our overall college achievement for last year is standing at 77.14%. You'll all remember the 72.3% of last year. So we are already in a better position than we were last year. However, we still have 701 outstanding results. Now, about half of those are for our subcontracted provision. And those of us working with the apprenticeships and the subcontracted elements are working to get those results in. But there are still around 350 Epping Forest College results still to get in. And the learning leaders and the directors will be working with course leaders to get all of those results into the exam team so we know by the middle of next week pretty much our outturn in terms of achievement. Because as you'll be aware, that impacts on not only the self-assessment process, but it impacts on lots of other key decisions moving forward. So if you've got, as a course leader, any results that you know aren't claimed yet, or students you know are passed, but the system is still not showing them as a pass, please have that conversation with your learning leads. Please have that liaison with the MIS and the exams teams so we can actually get that resolved. The other thing you'll notice there is the significant difference at the moment between the achievement of our 16 to 18 students and our 19 plus students. We've done a bit of an analysis and a lot of those outstanding 701s are 19 pluses, so we are expecting that to even up. But that's the current state of play. And self-assessment process is underway for last year because of the timescales that we have with regard to Ofsted coming back and our other friends that come and check how we're getting on a very regular basis. They want us to have completed that process very, very quickly. We need to have completed that process very, very quickly so we know how we're going to move forward from that. So big thank you to our learning leaders and curriculum teams who went through a rigorous process this week of validation and evaluation of the curriculum area learning reviews, and next Wednesday we'll be starting to look at college level of the reviews of each of the provision types and the overall self-assessment report. So that process happening as we start term much earlier than normal. So in terms of enrolment figures, Thank you to everyone for the work that you've done in terms of the main enrolment process and also the work that you've done under very, very difficult circumstances this week when we're trying to get students to class, we're trying to get the term started, but also we've got new students coming in and the need to process those students. So, in a bit of an eye test for all of us, the key numbers there are our enrolled 16 to 18 target, 1,479 16 to 18s, and our planning target, the target that the budget and the curriculum plan was based on, was just over 1,700. You can also see, in terms of 19 plus, that we have enrolled more 19 plus than we planned for. We're also aware that we have some learners that are currently showing as part-time learners that will become full-time learners. So there is some cleansing of that data that's going to happen over the next couple of days. We do need to continue to enrol. We do need to continue to recruit so we can get as close as possible to that 1,700 target on which our curriculum plan and our budget is based. So all of this data, the achievement data and the enrolment data, is coming live from our dashboard. You'll be aware that last year we introduced a very, very basic dashboard that Ginny and the MIS team worked to develop. If you now click on the dashboard link on the front page, it's a much more comprehensive and a much more useful set of data. Please do have a look at it because all of this information is live and available to everyone in the college. So, 2017-18, you may have noticed this has been the first week of term. People tell me it's Friday, I've lost track. So, induction obviously underway for our students. I'd like to say a huge thank you to the sports team for the way they've taken on the cross-college induction process of the activator sessions and the teamwork sessions over the week. It's been great to see all groups taking place for that. Thank you for that. And congratulations to Byron and the team for the very successful Freshers' Fair that took place in here. All making sure that we give our students the very, very best start. Just to remind you about the new induction progress review, you'll be aware that one of our key criticisms from Ofsted was we're not effectively monitoring the progress of our learners. And one of the things we've decided to do this year is to introduce a progress review at the end of the induction period. That's not going to be based around unit results, it's not going to be based around progress on the course, it's going to be based around soft skills and that key judgment, is this learner on the right programme of study? And that will then be used to inform our Right Move week to make sure that all of our learners are absolutely on the right programme. So if you're not sure about how that will work, you need to have a conversation with your learning leader, have a look at the template that is live now and set up on eTracker so you're clear on what the requirement there is in terms of that initial judgment of our learners. And that feeds neatly in to our parents' induction evening, our Meet the Parents evening, which will take place on the evening of Thursday the 28th of September, which is that opportunity to make parents aware of the role that they play in supporting our students, to introduce them to eTracker, to the college, to teams, and feedback on that first progress review. Induction is very much about starting off with the highest expectations, and it's really important that all of us challenge learners if we see behaviour that is not meeting our expectations. We have a very clear contract between the students and the college and the parents, and there's some key things that we need to win on from day one. And again, thank you to everyone that's been doing this as a matter of course as they go around their day-to-day role in the college. But the key point around ensuring that every single learner is wearing their ID card at all times is absolutely vital. It's a safeguarding issue. We need to know who's in the college. We need to know that those people in the college are supposed to be in the college. So if I could ask all of you, if you see learners or adults around the college not wearing the ID, please do, in a very friendly way, challenge them. We all need to do it, and it will become much more difficult for them to not wear it. It's easier to wear it. We've got off to a really good start with this year. We need to continue that so it becomes what we all do as part of our day-to-day lives. And with that, the key change, the explicit change to our policy that we do not allow hoods or hats in the building. Again, please, as you come across students that may not quite be aware that we actually mean business, to make sure they're taking off their hats and their hoods. Okay, teaching, learning and assessment. When Ofsted came to visit November last year, they made a very clear judgment that teaching, learning and assessment in this college was inadequate. When they came back and did the re-inspection monitoring visit, it hadn't changed. When they came back and did the second re-inspection monitoring visit, their judgment again was it hadn't changed. We know that things have changed. We know that teaching and learning in this college is better than it was. We know that in the full Ofsted inspection, something like 40% of what was seen was good or better. And the outturn of this year's data, Sarah, correct me if I'm wrong, is 65% good or better on first observation. It's really important that we know where we are in terms of teaching and learning, and we have that data, that information, that they will not only see when they come into our classrooms, but we will have to show them that that's not just what they see on that day or that week, this is what's happening all the time. So the process around improving teaching and learning is really important. We introduced last year learning walks, and we introduced the postcard. We've updated that process. Postcards have gone and they've become electronic. So as the member of staff, as the observer, it's instant. It will be instant feedback that will be emailed to you. And we've increased the expectation and we've clarified the expectation that every teacher will have at least one learning walk each half term. And in most cases that will be done by the immediate line manager, the learning leader. So we can really, very, very early on, be clear on what's going on in our classrooms. And if people need help, support, advice, guidance, we can make sure that's in place really early on. The observation of teaching and learning through graded observations will continue for the next academic year. For the reasons that I've already said, we are not in a position yet where we can actually move away from the graded observation. Hopefully we will be able to, and hopefully we'll be able to do that very quickly, but we cannot do that yet because we need to know where we are. So lesson observations will begin next week, Sarah? The week after next, thank you. That will be on a RAG rated process. And the RAG rating will not be by department, as it has been by previous years. It will be on an individual basis to ensure that we are making very, very clear support processes in place to enable people to get to where they need to get to. So observation of teaching and learning, learning walks, making sure we really are getting teaching and learning moving in the college is our number one priority. There's a revised process for work experience that will be launched today, and you'll get the information around that. And it makes very, very clear what's the responsibility of the course leader and the tutorial team, and what's the responsibility of the central work experience team. So look out for that. There is a E6 module that will be standard across the college, so every group, before they go into work experience, get the same information and the same processes. You'll be aware that we've revised our minimum expectations, what we expect to see in every classroom. And our first learning walks, that will be happening next week, I believe, will be looking at, are we actually meeting those minimum expectations in every classroom? And when are Ofsted coming back? Who knows? But we know that the support and challenge visit will take place on the 10th of October. We know that once that visit has happened, which is, as the name implies, a supportive process, as well as a challenge about what is seen, but it is recorded, it is reported, it does get fed back. After that, we are expecting, probably before half term, the next re-inspection monitoring visit. So the timescale to actually demonstrate that teaching and learning is improving is very, very short. So what are we doing to support teachers with that? This is the new ERIC site, which is now working, I'm pleased to say. And the learning, teaching and assessment page on ERIC has got loads and loads of materials, ideas, support to help you with the planning and delivery of your syllabuses. It's also where you will find copies of the college templates, schemes of work, lesson plans, the minimum expectations, the work experience information, all in this one place. And as you can see there, it's ERIC and it's the abbreviation LTA that will get you access to that. We know we had some problems with that at the beginning of the end of the academic year. That's now up, it's running, and that information is live. Second thing that we are planning for early in October is our Open Door Week. Again, a new initiative for the college, which is about sharing ideas. It's about exchanging ideas, sharing good practice, and it's about popping into lessons to see what's good, to see what's going on. And that at the moment is planned for the week of the 2nd of October, and there'll be more information coming out soon on that, but a great opportunity to go and see how things are done in other departments and to share best practice and learn from peers. And this probably is the most exciting thing in terms of teaching, learning and assessment, because we've been very, very conscious that we need to ensure that the processes, the facilities, the support is in place to help teachers to do their job. Because after all, that's the focus of the college, that's what we're here for, and improving learning, teaching, assessment is key. So we've established what we're calling the Learning, Teaching and Assessment Cafe. It's on level 4 at the green end, and it's in room 435. It's where the teaching and learning coaches are going to be based. It's where a lot of the CPD activities will be based. It's where a lot of the drop-ins to support staff will actually happen. And it will become that central resource, that go-to place for help, support, advice about all aspects of teaching, learning and assessment. And it will be open to all. If you just want to take yourself away for a couple of hours to do your lesson planning, there'll be an area you can do that. There'll be IT facilities. There'll be the learning coach there to support you should you need their support, or perhaps to make you a cup of coffee. It's about providing that environment that's about teaching, learning and moving that absolutely forward. And there's a launch of that room, which is next Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Are we providing coffee? We're providing coffee as well. So Wednesday afternoon, CPD and enrichment afternoon. So hopefully people will be able to go along, have a look at what the facilities are, and if you think, wouldn't it be good if, have that conversation and make that suggestion. So big step forward, I think, for supporting teachers with the nuts and bolts of what we're here to do. A couple of other things. Enrolment, lots of changes this year to enrolment. We want your feedback on enrolment. We're going to be doing a review meeting next week. If anyone's got any thoughts, idea, feedback, what went well, what didn't go so well, wouldn't it be great if we'd have thought of X, Y, Z, please email either myself or Stacey or Summer. We'll collate the opinions of the college, so we're capturing that while it's fresh in our minds to make sure that next year's enrolment goes even better. A couple of things that we're aware of this week. Firstly, we've got some very big English and Maths groups, and a huge thank you to the English and Maths team for coping this week with those huge groups and not just sending students away. Rowan is back with us, I'm delighted to say, and he's going to be spending this afternoon working through on a session-by-session basis to ensure that when the students turn up for their second English or Maths class, we are absolutely where we need to be with the group sizes and the rooms, etc. Can you please make sure that your students, if you're a vocational teacher, get the message that we're aware we've got some large groups, we're aware that we've had some issues, we're working through it sequentially, and the lessons will be in place for next week. But thank you for your patience there. Those changes are happening this afternoon. And equally, we're aware that we've got some staffing issues in some curriculum areas, and that's put a lot of pressure on the staff that are left. Again, thank you for all you're doing. The HR team and managers are working literally round the clock in terms of recruitment. We've been interviewing all morning for one curriculum area. Where we need to, we'll be looking at some alternate timetabling for next week to ensure that learners get the best deal when they're actually in the college. So thank you for your patience on that, but I wanted to assure you that we are aware of those two issues and we are doing everything we possibly can to resolve those before next week.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great. One thing that I would like to add on what Phil said is that try to keep the communication simple. When you want to feedback on the enrollment, when you want to feedback about what is not working, when you want to even praise what is working, future@efc.ac.uk, that will go to all the right people. So rather than I've sent an email to Phil and it went wherever, put it in future@efc.ac.uk so we get your messages, we get your feedback. And one other most important thing that I would like you to make sure that you will enable us to reflect on is the entire process of observation of teaching and learning and assessment. This is something that we are doing because we are in the situations that we are. We need to have hard evidence of how we are improving the quality of teaching, learning and assessment, and there is nothing more in a very good evidence that we can show that says 20% there, 30% now. That's your evidence of improvement, so you do not have any subjective judgment. I know that a lot of you are still looking at the observational teaching and learning policy and you think that the graded observation is not what a developmental process is about. Please try to get over the fact of that grade. Please hold on to the messages that come back, that is the feedback that is given to you in terms of improvement. We will review all our policies as we do, but at this moment in time, where we are at, we need to make sure that we have hard evidence for improvement and effectiveness of that process. And as such, when you have learning walk visits, when you have observation of teaching and learning taking place in your class, we don't want this to be something that is done to you. This is us working together to improve the most important aspect of the life at this college, which is what's happening in the classroom, and for us to support one another to make that the best that it can be. So again, if you want to give any feedback when you are observed as to how that process went, obviously the feedback form of the observation of teaching and learning will allow you to do that. But again, you can feedback future@efc.ac.uk. This is what has happened. I'm extremely pleased with it. This is what has happened. I think you could do this better, and this is my view of how. So let's make the observation of the teaching and learning policy everyone's business. This needs to be something that we work together to improve, and I need your help with that. Grades are going to stay at least for this academic year. So please get over the fact that I'm being labelled as a grade 2 teacher. Remember, what they see is being given a grade. This is not a label for the teacher. This is about the quality of the session and what has happened in that session. And those of you who are teachers, you know you can have the best lesson plan, you can have the best resources and everything else, and you go in and you deliver the most terrible session. Happens. It's not a label of the individual lecturer, it's about the quality of experience of the learners. So please, 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 let's not get hung up about a grade. Let's not get hung up about classification of people. This is about classification of the quality of sessions that are being delivered. Just wanted to make sure that you're all aware that this observation of teaching and learning is a dual way. You need to tell us that this observation of teaching and learning policy is working through giving us feedback of how it is operating and is it effective or not. Are the interventions working for you or not? Is the support that we are giving effective or not? So we can improve. So make sure that you use the channels that are available to give that very valuable feedback. Okay, money is too tight to mention. I think it has been my best track record for this college for now. Extremely tight. Nothing has changed since last I met with you guys. We are projecting £995,000 deficit. The reason for that is if we go above $1 million, that's another breach of our covenant. So come hell or high water, we're going to remain below $1 million. So that's the aspiration. Because we have breached our covenants with the bank on 2 counts, they would like to do an independent business review like they would do with any business. If any of you have mortgage, it's the same as them coming in and saying, are you able to really pay your mortgage or not? So that's what this is about. What I'm trying to do is to try to put them off not to do this while Ofsted is going on, what FEC meetings are going on, whilst merger discussions is going on. But at the end of the day, we have now got exposure to the bank over 55%. That means that we have borrowed 55% of what we earn. So any bank would have sleepless nights thinking, oh, they're really going to be able to pay us back. The positive thing is that we have 15 acres of land around us, roughly at about 5 million an acre. So let's just sell a bit of it and then have the bank off our back. So there's no worries, but if any bank manager worth their salt would be able to make advantage of this opportunity and come and say, okay, I'm going to put a charge on your land, so if anything happens, I get my money first. I want to negotiate to see what terms have I given you, can I make a little bit more money out of it? So that's all this is about. So it's nothing drastic, we are not going to be folding, we are not going to be out of business. But it's a process we have to go through with the bank manager because that's what they want to do. So that's what an independent business review is about. It's going to make KPMG a little bit richer and it's going to make us a little bit busier because we have to provide them with the information that they need. My intention is to make sure that we don't duplicate. With the merger proposal on the cards, we're going to go and do exactly the same for the merger process. So can we dovetail this so we don't pay for this twice? And that kind of thing. So again, from your point of view, the only thing that I would ask is that think twice before spending. Are there ways that we can achieve the same outcome or even better by not having money exchanged and have something that would be a skill exchange? Can I go and do something for another person so they can come and do something reciprocal here? So think creatively of how can we enhance and achieve what we want to achieve without any money going out. It's quite fun actually. So try, give yourself a challenge. One thing that you want to do, see if you can get it for free. Haggling lessons like how in London, so come and talk to me. So that's on the finance side of things. The last OTL policy I did say had a very positive meeting with a regional UCU rep with the view that should we look and see can we formalize the excellent CPD practice that is taking place at the college so people have a formalized CPD offer available to them. So we will be working with you, listening to you to see how we can link this to the personal review and development plan, which is now taking place on a termly basis. If you still haven't got your PRDP done, be sure that you will talk to your line manager. You remember at the end of last academic year, we talked about having a knowledge cafe for you to know what your targets are, what you're working towards. And you knowing that, you would be able to say, for me to be able to do that, I need this training. And that training information will come back to us and will form part of our CPD calendar. We want to make sure when the money is tight, we are not spending on training that is not necessary, we are not spending on training that is not effective, and we need to make sure that everything is joined up. So this would dovetail very nicely with our performance review and personal development program, so please be sure that you would have that process done. Our HR records does show that there is quite a few of you that you might have had the conversation and discussion, but the HR records are not updated. That doesn't wash. Data is only as accurate as what is on the system. So if you have had the conversation and you have not signed the form or you haven't sent the form back to the HR, please be sure that you would do that. In terms of the TLA Cafe, I'm very excited about this. This is really a sanctuary for you guys. Many of you over the last year said that, you know, I'm in this room with a lot of other people around, students coming in and out, you know, I don't have a place to think. please use that space. It's a beautiful space, nice views. You have lovely people serving you tea and coffee, and also talking to you about the pleasures of planning for teaching, learning and assessment that is fun and enjoyable. This is a hub for you, and I would like you to maximize the use of it. And one of the other most important aspects of life is, and I have written this in last voice that we had, unless you are the best that you can be, you will not be able to offer the best to our learners. If you come in stressed, if you get a headache, if you are running ragged, please take a moment to put prioritization of what matters most. You being ill is no good to anybody. You being stressed is no good to anybody. You might be able to carry the stress, carry the overwhelming feeling of everything is happening around you for a short period of time. But in our college, the biggest asset is the camaraderie, the fantastic teamwork, the nature of kindness and gentleness of individuals who would give anything to support one another. Do you agree or don't you? So let's make this college feel good. We have feel good sessions every morning, and those slots are available for you to put something on that would give something back to the learning community that is this college. Please make the most of them. If you can think of anything that we can do that will make life easier, and if it's free, even better, let's make it happen. This is the start of the journey, and this is a journey that will end with us achieving what we have set out for, and that is to prove that this college is worthy of providing education for the communities that we serve, and it is going places. So I thank you again for being here this afternoon, for everything that you give to and for Epping Forest College, and it's a pleasure to see you again this afternoon. Thank you so much.